Bethany and the Beast by Jack Meggitt Phillips. Chapter 12. The Breakfast. Ebenezer woke up the following morning feeling most unwell. When he opened his eyes, everything was blurry, and he had to put on his monocle just to see the duvet. And then, when he let out his morning yawn, his elbows and arms creaked like they were a set of old doors. He stood up and discovered that his legs were wobbling. They both still worked, but they had lost much of their strength during the night. It took even longer than it had done the day before to reach the bathroom. And when he arrived, he almost burst into tears. Ebenezer was upset by his reflection. His face was now entirely wrinkled with age. Just to make himself feel worse, Ebenezer started to count the number of wrinkles that had appeared on his forehead overnight. He had reached number 8 when he was interrupted by the sound of the beast's bell. "This day just keeps getting better and better," he moaned to the wrinkly mirror. Ebenezer trudged upstairs. The sound of the bell grew louder and more demanding as he made his way to the top floor. The beast continued to ring the bell even when Ebenezer was in the room. It only stopped after Ebenezer coughed in a pointed fashion. "Ahem! What in the name of hot biscuits took you so long?" spat the beast. It was not in a jolly mood. "Terribly sorry, my legs are a bit slow this morning," answered Ebenezer. The beast targeted its 3 black eyes on Ebenezer. It burst into laughter. "Ho, ho, 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 Ebenezer! Is that really what you look like without the potion?" it said. "Gosh, those 511 years really haven't been kind to you, have they?" The beast was truly tickled by the sight of Ebenezer's new oldness. It laughed and laughed until it broke out into a coughing fit. Ebenezer walked over and gave the beast a firm pat on the back. The beast coughed out some stationery, a ruler, a protractor, and a packet of pencils, and then it was back to normal again. "You shouldn't have made me laugh so much, Ebenezer," said the beast crossly. "You know how bad it is for my chest. Really, you could have given me some warning before you came up here looking like that." "Sorry, but I'm afraid that my appearance was a bit of a shock to me as well. I couldn't give you much warning, because I had no idea that I would wake up looking like this. I can't remember the last time I was without the potion for so long." "April 1902, said the beast. "It was when you took ages to bring me that Baskerville hound to eat, but I don't remember you looking quite this old and rotten." "Speaking of the potion, I don't suppose there's any chance you might be able to give me a small advance?" asked Ebenezer. Yes, that's why I rang for you. How is the child doing?" "She's doing fine, actually, a lot better. She's not as awful as I thought. She apologized to someone yesterday, and she didn't let me sleep on a toad. So, yes, progress, I would say." The beast was not impressed. It didn't care about Bethany's emotional journey to becoming a better behaved person. It only wanted to know whether the child was now large enough to eat. "The child seemed a little rounder when I saw her," said the beast. "There was more skin on her bones and more juiciness in her cheeks. You've done good work, Ebenezer." Ebenezer blushed. It was always a nice surprise to receive compliments from the beast. "And I haven't had so much as a bite to eat since that singing parrot," continued the beast. "My stomach has started to growl." "Oh, poor you," said Ebenezer. "You should have said, would you perhaps like a little snack?" "I would rather eat a fat child, Ebenezer. How much clearer can I be?" Ebenezer's chest tightened. He started to feel uneasy. "Be a dear and fetch the child," said the beast. "Bring up some of that fancy chutney as well. I want the dish to be oozing with flavour." "No," blurted Ebenezer. "Run out of chutney, have you? How irritating. Well, I guess a few bottles of brown sauce will do." "No, it won't do. Not with chutney and not with brown sauce." Ebenezer blinked, shocked at his own reply. He'd never said no to the beast before. The beast gave Ebenezer a stern stare. Its 3 black eyes shone with fury. "Please don't tell me you've become attached to that brat. I have already laughed quite enough for one day," said the beast. Ebenezer thought about what he was doing, and he wondered what had come over him. Why was he trying to help Bethany? He pulled himself together. "I hadn't finished speaking," said Ebenezer. "When I said that I won't do it, I mean that I won't do it now, as in today. You see, it doesn't matter how much brown sauce or expensive chutney you put on Bethany, because I don't think she's quite ready for you to eat. Give me another day to fatten her up." The fury evaporated from the beast's eyes.
"Thank goodness, you almost had me worried," said the beast. "I thought it was going to be like that pet thing all over again. What was that cat called? Lady Trouble or something like that. Anyway, I'm very glad that you're doing the right thing."
"Don't worry, there was never any chance that I was going to do the wrong thing," said Ebenezer.
Good, good. Can I really not eat her today, though? I can feel another growl coming on.
"Trust me, it will be worth the wait," said Ebenezer. "In the meantime, what did we decide about that potion advance?"
"We decided you would get your potion after I've eaten the child and not a moment before," said the beast.
Ebenezer hid his disappointment and walked to the door. Before he left the room, he said, "By the way, that cat's name was not Lady Trouble. He was called Lord Tibbles." There was a lump in Ebenezer's throat as he walked downstairs. For the first time in a couple of centuries, he found himself thinking about Lord Tibbles, and he was rather upset as he remembered everything that had happened. This sudden concern for others was most unusual. Ebenezer could recognize that his own behaviour was odd, particularly when it came to Bethany. He had been quite fond of Lord Tibbles, so it was understandable that he would feel upset from time to time. But with Bethany, it didn't make sense because he didn't think he liked her. Ebenezer should have just given Bethany to the beast. It would have saved him having to tell those lies about her not being ready to eat, and he would have got his hands on the potion so much faster. Now, however, he had to spend another whole day with her, and he had to struggle around the place with an aging body. Ebenezer wondered why he had acted in such a strange manner. He was never normally squeamish about feeding things to the beast, so why hadn't he brought Bethany upstairs? Ebenezer blamed his old body. Older people tended to be more emotional about things, and this concern for others was probably a side effect of the wrinkles and the weak legs. He was sure that all these unusual feelings would disappear once he had the potion. When Ebenezer walked into the kitchen, he was greeted by the sound of Bethany snoring. She was lying in a face-down starfish position under a blanket of crumpled comics. Ebenezer laid out the bowls of porridge, the jugs of orange juice, and the baskets upon baskets of croissants and mini muffins. He banged a spoon on a saucepan to wake Bethany up. He took a seat at the breakfast table and discovered that Bethany had left something for him in his place. It was the comic with the cover of the orange-booted, yellow-toothed, bright green goblin, and she had put a post-it note on it which read, "Fine, you can borrow it, but if you don't give it back, I'll ruin all your favourite jumpers." Ebenezer was touched. He couldn't remember the last time anyone had let him borrow something. "Thank you," he said to Bethany as she sleepily took her seat at the table. "I mean it about the jumpers," she said. "If you don't give it back within a week, I'm going to feed them to the moths." Bethany picked up a plate and filled it with two pain raisin and a half-dozen mini muffins. Ebenezer noticed that she had already gained quite a lot of weight. If the beast saw her, it would eat her on the spot. "Maybe you don't need to eat quite so much food today," said Ebenezer. "You might live longer if you eat more healthily." "Bog off," said Bethany. Then she shoved 2 muffins into her mouth.